Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? What we're going to be talking about today is something that I heard about, and I wasn't sure how to take it until I did my own research because I fact checked the heck out of this thing. And it had to do with submarines, the Gulf Coast of Florida, and I'm like, okay, what's really going on? So before we get into it, grab your coffee, maybe a snack or two, and let's get into it. So I'm going to read to you everything that I found, okay? Because, um, with this kind of stuff, you have to get your facts straight, okay? And I am not one to just throw something out there and say, you figure it out. I'm not doing that, okay? But I do encourage everyone to do their own research and form their own opinions, right on? So there's a Russian submarine and a Russian frigate, and that's Frigate, that are both capable of nuking the heck out of us, okay, the US cities, where they were both spotted traveling approximately 25 miles from the coast of Florida. Now, for those of you that are new here, I live in the Tampa Bay area, okay, of Florida. But most of the US population, you guys aren't hearing about this, okay? Now, where we live, my husband and I and my family, we're constantly seeing in the past, I want to say 4 days, 5 days, we're seeing Blackhawks, okay? The military helicopters, Blackhawks everywhere. And we're like, what's going on? And we live very close to the Gulf of Mexico. And we're like, what the hell's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Why are, because that's, unless they're doing a military exercise, which is generally for about an hour or two, that's all you see, and they go home. But we're seeing them all day, every day for the past 4 days. So this message, okay, that nobody is hearing, that the Russians were trying to send, okay, by sending these warships along the coast of Florida, the Russians are warning, all right, literally, like flashing red lights, that they will use nuclear weapons if they are pushed too far. But hardly anyone seems to care. No one's getting the message. Everyone's head is in the sand. And it's like, hey, wake up. All right. MSM insists that these vessels are no threat. How are you? What are you doing? Nobody's threatened. Shame, shame, know your name. There's no risk. There's no risk. No, go about your day. But while those experts, yeah, are assuring us that everything will be just fine, they are just feverishly preparing for a worst case scenario. No, okay? In the recent days, there are 4 Russian war vessels that have been practicing the use of high precision weapons in the Atlantic Ocean as well. Now, these warships have been practicing the use of high precision weapons in the Atlantic Ocean, and the Russians defend. Now, Putin and his most modern not admirable, Admiral Gorshkov, however you say his name, a hypersonic missile carrier is accompanying nuclear submarine Kazan, Kazan, and 2 other naval vessels. Now, these drills involve hitting targets from a distance of more than 370 miles. And their defense ministry said in a statement that follow an exercise of anti-aircraft fire. So all 4 of these vessels are set to arrive in Havana, okay, on Wednesday. Well, they're already there, okay, and will pass 25 miles from the coast of the United States on their journey. Well, they already did, and they're there. So on the way to Havana, they were expected to get quite close to the coast of Florida, which they did. And that happened on Tuesday. So then there were 3 Russian Navy ships and a nuclear powered submarine that seemed to be just passing by the Florida coast on Tuesday, June 11th, on the way to Cuba for a military exercise. And this is all according to an open source intelligence analyst on a social media, which was a tweet on X, formerly known as Twitter. And they said that the U.S. Coast Guard Cutter Stone may be shadowing the Russian flotilla off the east coast of the Florida of Cape Canaveral. And that's what we kept seeing with all the Blackhawks and things like that. And we were like, what the hell's going on? I mean, literally, you could see them. And it was like, everybody's constantly going like this. It was nuts. So on Wednesday, June 5th, a U.S. official told the media that the Russians plan to conduct a naval exercise with combat vessels in the Caribbean region. So the U.S. did not see the expected arrival to the Western Hemisphere to be threatening, but the officials said that the U.S. Navy will monitor the exercises, and the officials spoke on the conditions of anonymity to provide details that had not been made yet public. So the Kazan and the Admiral Korshkov are both capable of carrying nuclear weapons, and they are both considered to be key vessels in Putin's nuclear strike force. But despite this, Russia has not stated what firepower is being carried by this fleet, if you will. But of course, the Russians do not intend to attack us at this time. But Cuban authorities are openly telling us that even though they are capable of doing so, none of the vessels are carrying nuclear weapons. So they say, but everyone agrees that having these vessels travel so close to the coast of Florida was about sending us a message. And I truly believe that, okay? Because why the hell would you literally be in our waters of the Gulf of Mexico, okay? I mean, we're being told that this Admiral Gorshkov is armed with highly advanced hypersonic missiles that have a range of over 1,000 kilometers, okay? And it's designed to arm Russian cruisers and subs that could be used against both enemy ships and ground targets. All right, so this is not a joke. This thing is for real. And even though this Korshkov is not carrying nukes at the moment, those it's Zircon, Z-I-R-C-O-N hypersonic missiles are capable of delivering nuclear payloads. Okay, so if Zircon hypersonic missiles are launched from a Russian warship that is positioned just off of the East Coast, they would start hitting targets inside the U.S. in just a matter of seconds. And we would not even have a way to even defend ourselves against that. And the Russians they're about to conduct a military exercise in the Caribbean that would involve Russian long-range bombers that are flying along the East Coast. I mean, excuse me, but this is something to be of concern, okay? I don't care what anyone on MSM or even White House is saying that, oh no, don't worry, it's okay. Just go back to whatever you were doing. No, I don't think so. Okay, I mean, I'm not a fearmonger or anything, but this is cause for concern. Okay, I mean, they are clearly trying to get our attention. They are telling us that we are pushing things in Ukraine too far, but yet they're right off of our beaches. Okay, just this week, it was reported that a Ukrainian warplane has hit targets inside Russian territory for the first time. Okay. And they it was, what did they say it was? A Russian command node, NODE, and it was hit on Sunday in the area of Belgorod, which is in western Russia. It's close to the border of with northeastern Ukraine. So if the Ukrainians decide to get really bold and start hitting Moscow with long range weapons provided by Western powers, there's no telling what the Russians are going to do. There's no saying. Okay, only the man upstairs is going to know what's coming. And I strongly recommend that we try to find a peaceful way out of this mess while we still can. Meanwhile, the head of the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command is warning that he intends to create a hellscape for the Chinese if they pull the trigger on the invasion of Taiwan. When is this all going to end? I, I need to know, okay? I mean, a decade ago, a talk of a major war between the US and China was considered to be nonsense, if you remember. But here we are, okay? In the Middle East, exchanges of fire between the IDF and Hezbollah have gone from daily to like hourly, okay? I mean, it's just a matter of time before the Middle East erupts in flames. There are 60,000 Israelis that cannot return to their homes in northern Israel until the threat of Hezbollah poses is neutralized. And there was a recent survey that was done and discovered that the Israeli people are overwhelmingly in favor of a military campaign against Hezbollah. Yeah. But there's just one problem here. The moment that the IDF goes into southern Lebanon, it will mean an all-out war with Hezbollah, and thousands of highly advanced missiles will start raining down on Israeli cities, and we don't need that. Nobody needs that. I mean, I think any country, any military, could honestly handle Hamas. Okay, but Hezbollah is another matter entirely altogether. They're at the other end of the spectrum when it comes to being disgusting whatevers. Okay, the three, I mean, there's, the war in the Middle East is here. Okay, war with Russia is here. War with China is rapidly approaching. But then you have the mass majority of the population is still asleep. And most of them are not going to understand what is happening until it's too late. And that's what sucks. I'm sorry. Sorry to be so blunt, but I'd rather be upfront and honest with you. Sorry. Ever since I became a nona, that's what happens. My mouth just goes. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you in the next one, okay? You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping. And as always, fearless and stock up on your coffee because you're going to need it. Ciao.